Now, I think a lot of people misunderstand the role of systems in a business. They assume that systems are about organization or documentation or efficiency. But the real purpose of systems is much simpler. Systems are there to protect your momentum, because without systems, momentum leaks. Conversations fade, opportunities disappear quietly, and business seems to stall. So I was thinking about this the other day, right? There's this moment in business where shit just seems to start working properly. It's like super subtle. There's nothing dramatic that happens. There's no big announcement. There's no banners and party poppers. But you kind of notice something different. Things keep moving even when you're not paying attention. And it's really cool. A lead comes in, someone books a call, a conversation progresses, and you realize something important, that you didn't push any of it. And that's when a business, I think, starts to feel completely different. Not bigger or busier. It's kind of just calm. And in the early stages of building a business, everything depends on effort. You as the founder generates leads. You as the founder follows up. You as the founder manages all the relationships. You as the founder delivers all the work. And you as the founder keeps track of who needs to be contacted next. And whilst that works for a while, it works when there's only a handful of conversations happening at once and memory is enough. But as the business grows, something changes. More inquiries come in, more relationships develop, more conversations are happening simultaneously, and your memory starts to fail. And it's not that you're bad at it, it's biologically. That's how your brain works. It pays attention to stuff that's on fire. Important things that fall outside of that get delayed. Follow-ups get forgotten. Opportunities cool down because we're just fighting fires, not because the founder doesn't care. Because humans aren't designed to manage hundreds of moving relationships in their heads. Now, every business eventually reaches that turning point. It's the moment where effort stops being enough and you kind of hit this glass ceiling that you keep bouncing off. Working harder doesn't fix the problem anymore. Responding faster doesn't fix the problem anymore. Trying to remember everything doesn't fix the problem anymore. And that's where systems become essential, not as a luxury, but as infrastructure. Now, I think a lot of people misunderstand the role of systems in a business. They assume that systems are about organization or documentation or efficiency. But the real purpose of systems is much simpler. Systems are there to protect your momentum. When someone shows interest in your business, the system catches it. When a conversation pauses, the system remembers and picks it up again. When someone needs a follow-up, the system assures it happens. When there's manual work that needs to be done to move things from A to B to C, the system does it for you. Because without systems, momentum leaks. Conversations fade, opportunities disappear quietly, and business seems to stall. You hit that glass ceiling. Systems don't create interest, but they make sure interest doesn't get lost. And this is why your CRM becomes so important in being more than just software. It's a place where relationships live. It's your business brain. It's where you can see who's new, who's active, who needs follow-up, who's ready now. And without that visibility, your relationships start to drift. Because, if you've got that CRM connected to automation, something powerful happens. Momentum becomes predictable. Leads don't depend on someone noticing them. Follow-ups don't rely on memory. That data that you need to move from one system to another happens as if by magic. And conversations don't disappear just because someone got busy doing something else. I think automation often gets misunderstood. Some people imagine it's replacing people. Others imagine it is a complicated technology, which, to be fair, is probably pretty accurate in some cases. But in reality, automation simply ensures that the right things happen at the right moment. Just like driving your car. If you turn the steering wheel to the right, a whole bunch of systems ensure that the wheels turn to the right. When you put your foot on the accelerator, a whole bunch of systems ensure that the car speeds up. And thankfully, when you put your foot on the brake, the reverse happens and it all comes to a stop. In your business, it's someone who fills out a form. They receive a response. If someone books a meeting, they receive confirmations and reminders. If someone says they're interested but not ready, they remain connected to your business instead of disappearing. Automation removes the silent gaps where opportunities normally fall apart. Now, when systems and automation start working together, something super interesting happens. Small improvements begin to compound. Leads are acknowledged faster. Follow-ups happen consistently. Old conversations, like we talked about in the last episode, get reactivated. Clients feel that they're important to you. Now, none of these things are dramatic on their own, but when they're together, they create something powerful, and that's consistency. And consistency is one of the most underrated drivers of growth in a business. Now, once systems are in place, your role as the founder gets to change. Instead of manually chasing everything, you can focus on the parts of the business where you add the most value. That's thinking, that's improving, that's building relationships, that's exploring opportunities. As the founder, you get to stop being the engine that pushes everything forward and you start to turn the steering wheel. You become the architect of how your business runs. And that shift alone changes how a business feels. It's less reactive and chaotic and more intentional. Now, a business that depends entirely on the founder's effort will always feel fragile, because the moment the founder gets tired, distracted, sick, or overwhelmed, the business slows down. But when systems carry the operational weight, something very different happens. The founder can step back without everything stopping. A business can grow without becoming exhausting. And opportunities don't simply disappear because someone forgot to follow up. A lot of people imagine growth as a more activity, like more marketing, more networking, more noise. But some of the most powerful growth comes from something much quieter. Designing how leads move through your business, designing how relationships stay alive, designing how momentum continues without constant effort. When that design is in place, growth stops feeling like a grind and it starts feeling like a system that works. Now, the idea behind more clients, less effort isn't about doing less work, right? It's about making sure that your effort is applied in the right places, so that when your system captures opportunities and when automation keeps conversations moving and when your database becomes an active network instead of a forgotten list, business becomes simpler. Not because it's easy, but because it's designed properly. And when a business is designed properly, something super powerful happens. Clients arrive more consistently. Opportunities don't get lost. And the founder finally stops having to carry everything alone. Now, if you've been listening to this series and recognizing parts of your own business along the way, take a moment to reflect on one question. Where in your business does momentum still depend entirely on you? Because that is where your next system belongs. If you'd like help designing systems that keeps leads, keeps relationships and opportunities moving automatically, you'll find more resources and ways to connect over at winmoreclients.com.au. Thanks for listening. More clients, less effort.